Good evening and welcome to the Cabarrus County Board of Education's business meeting for Monday, March the 8th. The meeting has been called to order. The board has just reconvened from closed session. And I would just say welcome to the viewing audience tonight, and I would ask for everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And board members, I would like to ask for a motion to amend the agenda to add item number 5 to the budget amendments, and also due to the number of speakers tonight, we are going to reverse the action agenda number 11 with items number 10, which is public speakers, placing them after the action agenda. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I have a motion. May I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. So we are going to begin with item number 6, which is the approval of the personnel recommendations. I would like to have a motion for the approval for the personnel recommendations that were presented.
So moved.
I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second by Ms. Adcock. Well, a motion by Ms. Blackwell and a second by Ms. Adcock. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And item number 6.02, we are going to approve those and hold those for approval afterwards. So if we will move on down and start with our recognitions, items number 7, and we will have Mrs. Ronnie Boone to begin with the Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month. Good evening.
Good evening. Excited to be filling in for Mrs. Jones this afternoon. So, Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Schultz, and good evening to everyone watching on the live stream. Tonight it's my pleasure to introduce the Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month as we mark a tremendous milestone for our program. It's our 100th Teacher of the Month. We want to say thank you to Mr. Tim Vaughn and to Hilbish Ford for their vision in creating this Teacher of the Month program and for their continued support, 100 teachers and counting. Our Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month for March is Mr. Joshua Minnick. Mr. Minnick teaches history at Northwest Cabarrus High School, and he was nominated for this award by a student who wrote, Mr. Minnick is a hardworking, amazing teacher who really loves his work and puts 100% into everything he does. He is an all-around great teacher and role model who ensures that all of his students have everything they need to be successful in his class. He makes learning a fun experience while teaching his students how to be responsible, accountable, and dependable. He not only teaches us history lessons, but life lessons as well. Times are stressful, but Mr. Minnick makes learning during a pandemic a million times easier and a lot more fun. Mr. Minnick, thank you for infusing your history lessons with fun and your life lessons with important values, traits, and characteristics that will help your students in their lives after high school. Congratulations on your selection as the 100th Hilbish Ford Teacher of the Month for Cabarrus County Schools.
Thank you. And Mrs. Boone, we will actually keep you for 7.02 to start the Impact Through Education Awards.
Yes, ma'am. Tonight we will present Impact Through Education Awards to students and staff at Pitt School Road Elementary and Concord High Schools. Before we get started with the awards, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, the Equitable, formerly AXA Advisors, for their generosity and partnership, as well as to Concord Trophy for handling the engraving for our awards and plaques each month. Now on to tonight's awards. Our first honoree from Pitt School Road Elementary School and student winner is Colin Case. Colin is a kind, considerate, courageous, funny, hardworking first grader at Pitt School Road Elementary School. He enthusiastically runs from the carpool line into the school each morning with a smile on his face. He gives 110% all day, every day, and loves to be challenged. His favorite subject is math, and he loves to make his friends laugh. When Colin is not at school, you can find him building Lego sets, watching Star Wars, and playing with his little sister. Many would be surprised to learn that in July 2018, Colin was diagnosed with a rare malignant brain tumor, and instead of starting kindergarten that August, he was in the hospital fighting for his life. While in the hospital, Colin endured vigorous chemotherapy and radiation treatments and a 7-hour surgery to remove the tumor. Because of the tumor, Colin lost the ability to walk, talk, and even swallow. He spent a month on the rehab floor at the Levine Children's Hospital, where he began relearning all of those skills. In April 2019, Colin was officially declared cancer-free. His journey was filled with many challenges, but he faced them with courage, resilience, and faith. Colin is an extraordinary young man, and that is the reason for his selection as an Impact Through Education Award for Pitt School Road Elementary School. So we congratulate Colin. Our second student honoree from Pitt School Road Elementary is Emery Taylor. Emery is a wonderful, bright, energetic, hardworking fourth grade student at Pitt School Road Elementary. He has a personality that is second to none. He is a favorite among his peers and consistently emerges as a leader in his classroom. Emery's favorite subjects in school are math and PE. When Emery is away from school, he enjoys playing basketball, baseball, and football. When not actively playing, he likes to watch and study sports. Emery enjoys spending time with his family and friends, as well as visiting new places and traveling to see his grandparents in Tennessee. Emery is extremely grateful for his Pitt School Road Elementary family and appreciates the encouragement he has always received. Pitt School Road Elementary is fortunate to have Emery as a part of its school family and is thrilled to present him with the Impact Through Education Award. Congratulations, Emery. Our next honoree from Pitt School Road Elementary is Valerie Price. Valerie Price is a phenomenal teacher. She began teaching in 2001. As her teaching career began, so did the other most important role in her life, being a mom. When her students ask if she has a favorite student, she always answers, "I have two, Sebastian and Phoebe," her children who are both Pitt School Road Elementary alumni. They are the inspiration in both her life as well as her classroom. Mrs. Price is a valuable part of the Pitt School Road family. She goes above and beyond for her students and parents. She has taught both 4th and 5th grades and has emerged as a leader on both teams. She's the PTO representative, the social committee representative, and she is the master of building relationships with students and setting them up for success. Mrs. Price says, "Each new school year begins with increasing my family of students, their friends, their families, and their colleagues. I have been fortunate to work with amazing people throughout my 20 years of teaching and have such fond memories of all my children, which are just too many to count these days, and bonds to families that have helped me grow personally and professionally. I am motivated in life by seeing people smile, laugh, and love, and do what I can to share that inspiration with others." Pitt School Road Elementary is thankful for Mrs. Price and is pleased to present her with an Impact Through Education Award. And our final Pitt School Road Elementary honoree this evening is Joseph Williams. Joe Williams is the head custodian at Pitt School Road Elementary School. Prior to working at Pitt's, he owned and operated his own construction company for more than 20 years. In his spare time, Mr. Williams enjoys playing golf and woodworking. Mr. Williams has been the head custodian at Pitt School Road Elementary for 2 years. His work ethic is outstanding. He goes above and beyond in everything that he does, and he takes pride in the school and works tirelessly to make sure that it is a clean, safe place for students to learn and grow. He works hard with his team and is a godsend to the staff who say anything you ask of him is done before you can even get all the words out of your mouth. He is a professional and has a tremendous amount of integrity as well as humility. Mr. Williams will not allow you to praise him without putting it back on his team's hard work and everyone around him. He is an asset to the school as well as to the entire district. He is truly one in a million, and we congratulate him on his Impact Through Education Award. Congratulations. Now for our Impact Through Education Award honorees from Concord High School. Our first honoree is Mackenzie Fain. Mackenzie is one of the hardest working students at Concord High. She gives every class 100% and has developed a work ethic and study skills that will allow her to reach any academic goal. She also works closely with the broadcasting class to advertise all the student activities at Concord High School. She has created the Tasty Tuesday segments, senior videos, and led the social media campaign for the class. Last year, under her team's leadership, the broadcasting class won the Cabarrus County Sex Trafficking Task Force Public Service Announcement Contest for a documentary about human trafficking. Not only is Mackenzie secretary of the senior class, she is also a 4-year Spider Girl who cheers on the teams at sporting events. But most importantly, she cheers on her classmates by encouraging them and setting the example of being a genuinely caring friend. When you spend time with Mackenzie, you feel the positive energy she exudes and leave a better person. Concord High School is proud to present Mackenzie Fain with an Impact Through Education Award. Our next student honoree from Concord High School is Camille Loy. Camille is an International Baccalaureate Diploma Program candidate at Concord High School, where she is a true example of the IB mission, an inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young adult who strives to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding. She has become a valuable asset to the school community and stands out among her peers for her empathetic and affable nature. As the leader of the Beta Club, she has organized canned food drives, school supply drives, embodied the mission to promote the ideals of academic achievement, character, leadership, and service. Camille also is well known as a mature and conscientious student. She is motivated by personal growth and her love of learning. She readily reflects on the learning process and asks questions to achieve a deeper understanding of the world around her. She consistently carries herself with grace, humor, sincerity, and serves as a model for other students to emulate. Even in the midst of a pandemic, Camille has lifted everyone's spirits with her smile, intellect, joy, and laughter. Concord High School proudly presents Camille Loy with an Impact Through Education Award. Next for our Concord High honorees is Dr. Christopher Kobitz. Since starting at Concord High as the Instructional Technology Facilitator in 2017, Dr. Kobitz has made an incredible impact on the use of technology across the school. Immediately after he started, teachers and staff were so excited about Mr. Kobitz's responsiveness to every situation. Teachers often commented to administrators about how great it was that he could help them create and use technology, as well as happily and quickly fix things as they broke. He assisted in PLCs, helped with assessments and data collection, and pitched in across the school as needed. Since the start of the pandemic, his impact has been even greater. With virtual and blended learning being the norm, Dr. Kobitz helps with everything from laptop distribution, repair, troubleshooting, and inventory. He's always available to help students and teachers with login, connectivity, Microsoft Teams, Canvas, and website questions. There's no doubt that the success Concord High School has had in the last year has been greatly influenced by Dr. Kobitz. The staff at Concord High is extremely grateful for his effort and support and recognizes his impact on education at the school. Congratulations, Dr. Kobitz. And our final honoree from Concord High School this evening is Melissa Bateski. When it comes to organizing data and creating processes, Melissa Bateski leads the way with her outstanding analytical skills. Mrs. Bateski enters all student data, assists teachers with gradebooks, sets up the framework for the master schedule, and even volunteers on testing days to assist the school's testing coordinator. Mrs. Bateski is a team player, ready to assist in the front office as needed and ensuring all tasks are completed timely and accurately. The office staff that works closely with her appreciates this attention to detail, and the teachers are so thankful for her knowledge of PowerSchool and attendance systems. Mrs. Bateski also mentors and shares her knowledge with other data managers. Concord High School was so fortunate to have such a strong and organized team member like Mrs. Bateski, especially in these challenging times. With the changes between Plans B and C, students switching between remote and in-person learning, and groups of students in school 2 and 4 days each week, Mrs. Bateski keeps it all organized and communicated to all CHS staff. She makes a huge impact daily on the education of every Spider at Concord High School. Congratulations on your award, Mrs. Bateski, and congratulations to all of our Impact Through Education Award winners this evening.
Ms. Boone, I'll ask you to remain and ask Acting Superintendent Brian Schultz to join you for 7.03, which is the North Carolina School Public Relations Association Blue Ribbon Award.
Thank you very much. We did not want you to get away without hearing this recognition. So it is my pleasure to congratulate and recognize our Communications and Public Information team tonight on receiving 21 Blue Ribbon Awards for Excellence in Communications from the North Carolina School Public Relations Association, which were presented at a virtual ceremony in February. The team, Mike Martin, Melanie Gonzalez, and led by Ronnie Boone, received gold, silver, and bronze awards for excellence in electronic media, digital media engagement, image and graphic design, marketing, photography, publications, special events and programs, and writing. One of those 21 awards was a Best of the Best award, which recognizes the most outstanding communications work among all gold level winners across the state of North Carolina in this category. Ms. Boone, Ms. Gonzalez, and Mr. Martin earned a Best of the Best award in the digital media engagement category for the class of 2020 graduation at Charlotte Motor Speedway coverage. The judges praised the team's work, calling it exceptional and creative. The team earned 3 Best of the Best awards in 2016. Since 2011, our communications team has earned a total of 89 Blue Ribbon Awards. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Boone and her team.
Thank you, Ms. Boone. Okay, and next, board members, we will move on to 7.04, and we will have Dr. Mary Beth Roth with the North Carolina Middle School American History Teacher Award. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, and Mr. Schultz. Tonight I'd like to recognize Jerry Goodnight, social studies teacher at Winkler Middle School, who has received the 2021 Middle School American History Teacher Award from the Mecklenburg Sons of the American Revolution. Mr. Goodnight received his award during a presentation at the school on Monday, February 22nd, 2021. Jim Wood, Mecklenburg Sons of the American Revolution program chairman, made the presentation and shared the news that not only was Goodnight the winner for the Mecklenburg chapter, but he also has been selected as the winner for the state. He will now compete at the national level. The Sons of the American Revolution conducts a contest each year to recognize educators who distinguish themselves in teaching the history of the American Revolution. The contest, which is open to elementary, middle, and high school American history teachers, includes an essay portion where applicants must write about their teaching and describe any extraordinary techniques or innovative projects they used to teach the American Revolution. At this time, I'd like to say congratulations to Mr. Goodnight. Thank
Dr.
you.
Roth, thank you, and my apologies. I always think if I can hear you, so should everybody else be able to. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, board members, we're going to move on to items number 8, approval of the minutes. So I would ask that there be a motion that the board approve the minutes of the February 1st, 2021 work session and the February 8th, 2021 business meeting as presented, or are there any noted corrections or questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Blackwell and a second by Mr. Walter. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. And now we will move to items under number 9, and we will start with Acting Superintendent Brian Schultz for his superintendent comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have several items I'd like to highlight this evening. So as of February 16th, our pre-K through third grade students began attending school in Plan A, along with students in grades 4-12 who receive services through EC, ELL, 504, and McKinney-Vento programs. Our elementary school administrators and staff have done an outstanding job preparing their buildings and classrooms for our students. Next week, all other students in 4th and 5th grades will begin Plan A, and we are looking forward to having them at school 4 days each week. Since last Monday, I personally have been in 13 schools to witness the school staff in creating an environment that is safe and conducive to learning, whether it's in person or remote. I'm so thankful and in awe of the work of Team CCS. The whole community should feel confident as we continue back with more students face to face. As many of you know, we are nearing the end of the third quarter. Later this month, we look ahead to the final quarter of the school year. We will release a fourth quarter commitment forms for students in grades 6 through 12 tomorrow, March 9th. Those commitment forms will be sent only to students who are attending in Plan C, as we expect those who are already attending in person to continue to do so. That commitment form will be due this Friday, March 12th. I also wanted to say a few words about prom. I know that's been discussed a lot this week, and I want to make sure that people understand that we are required to follow the current restrictions of the governor's executive orders and the requirements for the instruction and school-related offense by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. And I will also tell you, being the parent of a 2020 graduate, I do empathize with our current senior class and understand the importance of making the final weeks for our seniors very special. As such, each high school is working to develop innovative social events to celebrate our seniors. Schools are gathering ideas from students, parents, and other stakeholders in their planning. Nothing is final, but there will be events that allow for recognitions and celebrations for our seniors in a way that follows the COVID-19 requirements in place and in a way that honors and celebrates the great achievements and accomplishments that they have done over the last 13 years of their education. We continue to be encouraged by the decline in our country's COVID data. Positive cases, hospitalizations, quarantines are all trending in a great direction. As of the numbers today, we have the fewest number of students and staff quarantined since we began tracking it back in December. I also want to commend our partners at the Cabarrus Health Alliance for the tremendous job they are doing as they host vaccine events and as the governor moves more groups into eligibility to be vaccinated. We also have a number of local pharmacies that have contacted us to make sure employees know that they can make an appointment with them for their vaccine as well. So we thank those partners too in making this a true community effort. As of early last week, the Cabarrus Health Alliance alone, that's not counting all of the wonderful partners that we have, had vaccinated over 1,200 educators in Cabarrus County. And there have currently been over 38,000 vaccines administered in Cabarrus County, with about 10% of the total population receiving their second dose. It is important that we continue to stay diligent and follow those 3 W's. This is not a time to let down our guard. Let's finish this strong. As you may know, there has been a lot of legislative action and discussion about the face-to-face Plan A learning options for students in grades 6 through 12. We continue to follow this closely, and as a result of any changes, we may need to reconvene the CCS COVID-19 Task Force and review the recommendations in light of any potential changes by North Carolina legislators and/or Governor Cooper. If you are interested in reviewing the current task force recommendations, you can find them under the COVID-19 link at the Cabarrus County Schools website. It's really my pleasure to announce that this is National School Social Work Week. School social workers are a beacon of hope and light. They light the way, emphasizing the whole child, collaborating with other professionals, linking students and family with needed services, and advocating for their profession. They are committed to improving the educational success and outcomes and the social emotional development of all students. True to form, our social workers are celebrating their month by helping others. They've partnered with the Junior Charity League of Concord, a local nonprofit agency that has one important goal: helping children in Cabarrus County. And they are hosting a donation drive to replenish items for the Junior Charity League clothing closet. Items needed include toothbrushes, toothpaste, bar soap, gallon-sized food storage bags. To donate, please contact your school's social worker. We are also celebrating arts education this month with our Youth Art Month, Music in Our Schools Month, and Theater in Our Schools Month. These month-long celebrations shine the spotlight on our district's fine art programs and our talented students and teachers. Our Human Resources Department will host a virtual teacher fair on April 23rd. They are looking for candidates who are ready to engage minds and shape futures here in Cabarrus County Schools. To register, you can go to the Cabarrus County website and under Human Resources. We also want to say congratulations to our Teacher of the Year finalist. So this is big news. We have Ashton Berry from W.R. Odell Elementary School, Jennifer Berkemeyer from Harrisburg Elementary School, Melissa Capitz from Wolf Meadow Elementary School, Alice Graham, Concord Middle School, Amy Hicks, Central Cabarrus High School, and Tabitha Paisley from Beverly Hills Elementary School. J.M. Robinson's High School's Pride of Robinson Marching Band, congratulations to you on your invitation to participate in the 80th Annual Pearl Harbor Day Parade in Hawaii this year. The band will represent North Carolina and the eastern United States as it participates in the official public ceremony alongside the U.S. Marine Band as they march in Pearl Harbor Memorial Day Parade and perform at a special concert at Pearl Harbor in front of the famed USS Missouri. The band is planning a variety of fundraisers to help offset the cost of the trip. Please visit RobinsonBandsGoHawaii.org to learn more about this wonderful opportunity and event. And also congratulations to Weddington Hills Elementary School on its Magnet School of Distinction Award from Magnet Schools of America. This is the 4th consecutive year that Weddington Hills has received this award. The school will receive its award at a virtual conference next month. School leaders were scheduled to travel to the Magnet Schools of America conference in Nevada last year, but obviously were unable to do so. Information and applications for the 21-22 North Carolina Pre-K program in Cabarrus County are now available. Children who are 4 years old on or before August 31st, 2021, and whose family gross income is below 75% of the state median income are eligible. Please visit www.cabarruspartnership.org to learn or apply. Registration for kindergarten for the 21-22 school year is now open. Children who are 5 years old on or before August 31st, 2021 are eligible to register for kindergarten. Parents can complete their child's registration by going online and visiting the CCS student enrollment page, which is located in the Find It Fast section at Cabarrus County Schools website. We are excited to welcome the class of 2034. So please come and get your children registered during our spring registration for kindergarten. We also would like to encourage all Cabarrus County Schools families to apply for our free and reduced priced meals. If you are approved, you may be eligible for the Pandemic Electronic Benefit Transfer Program, which helps families purchase food for children who have not been able to access meals at school during the COVID-19 pandemic school closures. To apply for these free or reduced price meals, visit the school nutrition website at the Cabarrus County Schools website. This is a reminder for students in grades 3 through 12 that there's still time to enter the 10th annual Ellis Jewelers Future Designer Contest. Students may submit a design for a ring or pendant and the winning designs will be crafted into a piece of jewelry that Ellis Jewelers will give to the winner. The deadline to enter is April 10th. And then lastly, I have a few important dates for your calendars. Don't forget those fourth quarter commitment forms for grades 6 through 12 due Friday, March 12th. Friday, March 26th is a planning/staff development day, so there will be no school for students on that day. And then spring break is scheduled for April 2nd through April 9th, just a few weeks away. And I will tell you 2 acts of kindness I was made aware of this week to close on a really happy note. I was emailed by a community member today about a teacher at J.N. Freeze. I will not say her name because I didn't get permission, but I wanted to recognize her. The sister of a person who was celebrating her 86th birthday dropped off her birthday present at the wrong door. And teacher at J.N. Freeze was the recipient. So she spent a lot of time and effort tracking down who it belonged to and made sure that it got to her sister so that she could celebrate her birthday. And I think that really exemplifies the type of staff that we have working in Cabarrus County Schools, and exemplify and model what we want to see in our students out of acts of kindness and citizenship. And also the Hickory Ridge soccer team, varsity soccer team, the seniors decided to recognize and memorialize a freshman teammate's, the passing of one of their freshman teammates' mother. And they're actually doing that tonight at Hickory Ridge High School. So example of teachers, an example of students who are working to bring our community together. And I pray that we all follow that same example. Thank you.
Well, that was great. And you know, we've had the meeting, the majority of the start of it, with awards and recognitions, and then you end in with students and teachers. That is absolutely awesome. It speaks volumes about our system as a whole. And I should have just given you my comments. But I will segue from your discussion about the legislators. I was in Raleigh this past week, as all of you know, working with the legislators on some of those bills, and I'll keep you posted and updated. The legislators are working really hard on those bills to get them modified and tweaked, and I'll keep you posted and updated. I want to remind you about the budget meeting that is scheduled for March the 22nd. And Brian Shaw, I may throw you a curve here. We want to schedule the public hearing for the realignment for the new middle school. Can I do that by consensus tonight, or should I add that to the agenda for the work session? I mean, the March 22nd meeting. Is it a problem if I just do it by consensus tonight, that we go ahead and add that?
No, you could do that tonight. You need to amend the agenda. That would require a 2/3 vote.
So I need to amend the agenda?
Amend the agenda
Okay.
to add
Okay.
that, but yeah, you'll have that power, sure.
Let's go ahead and do that, just so that gets out to the viewing audience and people are prepared to speak and be a part of that night. So may I have a motion to amend the agenda to add a public hearing on April the 13th for the realignment of the new middle school?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Blackwell. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Adcock. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. So we will be adding, for the viewing audience, there will be a public hearing held on Tuesday, April the 13th, for the realignment of the new middle school. Our business meeting will follow that on Monday, April the 19th. So thank you, and that ends my comments. And I'm sorry, Ms. Carpenter?
Yes, I just had 2 questions for Mr. Schultz. I've had a lot of emails, and these are 2 questions that I just had on that. One of them is a lot of people asking about the football games since they've started, the capacity, how many people can attend. We've had some questions about that because originally it's kind of changed, and people say, ooh, I wanted to go or I didn't want to go. What is the actual capacity for our football games now?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, too. The capacity was 100, which we felt like for an outdoor event may have been a little on the low side, but thankfully 2-3 days prior to our first football game last weekend, 2 weekends ago, the governor increased the capacity to 30% for our stadiums.
So how can people can regular people like?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, there is some prioritized access for parents of home team. However, shortly thereafter, that goes public and can be bought through a site called Ticket Spicket. And for information, they could easily just ask the coaches about it or send an email to the school about the specific.
Ticket Spicket.
Ticket Spicket, that's it.
Ticket
Yes.
Spicket. And the other one, this may be a little too soon to ask, but I've heard, as you mentioned, for the seniors, a lot of the schools are doing special events, but questions about walking. I know some said some schools may do some kind of special to let the seniors walk across, or can you elaborate on that?
Are you talking about for graduation?
For graduation.
Yeah, so the graduation is still being held at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. There will be opportunities in the week between when the last day of school and the graduation day there will be opportunities for students to have some specialized pictures taken at the school that will involve places that they want to take pictures at. I'll just say that. So plans are being finalized for that, and that'll be announced through each school. But yes, again, kind of true to my statements earlier about making sure that we find additional ways to honor our seniors, not only at the Speedway, but also at their school sites are in the works and well underway. And I'm thankful that our schools are reaching out to their student body for options for that, and also to the parents.
Well, again, we do, and I know everyone sitting at this table right here, we want to make sure these seniors, they have really, the last year and a half, it's been really, last year and this year, it's been rough for them. And I think everyone at this table, we want to make sure we do make it special for them. So we are doing everything in our power to do that. So that's why I wanted to bring those two items up. And thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to ask those questions.
Thank you, Ms. Carpenter, and you were right on the money with that. So thank you for bringing that up. You're exactly right, and I think that does capture all the sentiments of the board as well. So thank you for doing that. Also, to Mr. Furr's point, I did not place a time for that public hearing, and I'm assuming we would maintain 6 o'clock as we normally do, but do you feel the need to back that up? And I know there are those that have work issues, but is 6 o'clock okay? And we'll add that time frame to that motion. Is that good with everybody? Okay, so 6 o'clock, April the 13th, is the scheduled public hearing for the realignment of the new middle school. And thank you, Mr. Furr. Okay, item number 9.03, Mr. Shaw has asked to move his comments to April's meeting, and that is fine. Also, board members, I do not have your comments notated on here tonight for any type of committee reports, but we will do those at the work session in April, our first meeting of the work session. And now we will move, since we have reversed the agenda, to item number, which is 11.01, which will become number 10. And we will ask Ms. Kelly Klutz to come to the podium for the budget amendments, please.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
We reviewed the budget amendments last week. The only thing that I would call to your attention today is the Kids Plus that we talked about last time. Just want to be sure that the Board does want us to continue to operate in the same manner that we have been continuing. Just want to either a head nod or someone to indicate that you want to vote. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page there.
Board members, everyone good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, are there any questions?
No questions. All right, board members, may I have a motion that the budget amendments be approved as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Blackwell and a second by Mr. Furr. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Klutz. Now we will move on to item number 11.02, which is 10.01, and we will ask Mr. Dane Hughes to the podium for the Spectrum contract for the internet service.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for having me here again. Last week I presented our new contract for Spectrum Internet Services. We've received no questions or follow-up inquiries to that, and tonight I would ask for your approval of a vote.
Board members, comments or questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion that the Spectrum contract for internet service be approved as presented?
I make a motion we approve the contract as read.
I have a motion by Ms. Carpenter and a second by Mr. Walter. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, board members, we will now move on to guest speakers. And I'm just going to read this. Most speakers have, all speakers have already been given the rules and know the process and protocol that we now start with. Regarding COVID, so in accordance with the Board Policy 2310, a part of each business meeting will be set aside for citizens to address the board through public comment. Each speaker will receive 3 minutes to present comments. Speakers must sign up with the board clerk via email at melinda.abbott@cabarrus.k12.nc.us no later than 5:30 of the regularly scheduled monthly business meeting. Speakers must include their name, group name if applicable, address, and phone number, and the list of the general education-related topic of their presentation for the board minutes. Speakers will need to remain in their vehicles until the guest speaker section of the meeting begins. Speakers will be called into the building by an assigned number given to them after signing up. Speakers must wear a mask and will be temperature screened before entering the building and will need to exit the building immediately following their comments. During the public comment period, the board chair will recognize speakers in the order in which they signed in. Substitute speakers will not be permitted, and speakers may not donate any portion of their time to another speaker. If a speaker is unable to present all of his or her information within the specified time limit, the speaker may provide the board with the additional information in written form. If an unusually large number of people request to speak, a majority of the board may decide to reduce the time for each individual or to require the designation of a spokesperson for each group of persons supporting or opposing the same positions. At any time, the board may establish additional procedures to ensure that public comment sessions proceed in an efficient and orderly manner. Generally, personnel, confidential, and specific school-level matters will be handled in accordance with the board's grievance policy and/or the appeal rights afforded under the North Carolina General Statutes and are not the proper subject of the public comment portion of the board meeting. Board members will not respond to individuals who address the board except to request clarification of points made by the presenter. Except in cases of emergency, information received during presentations will not be acted upon at the time it is received. It will take unanimous vote of the board members present to take action on a presentation considered to be of an unusual or emergency nature at the time it is presented. Disruptions by any person or persons of a public meeting will be subject to action in accordance with General Statute 143-318.17. And with that, we will begin. And we will ask our speaker number one, Kenneth Wortman, to please address the podium.
How many speakers do we have tonight?
We have 22. Mr. Wortman,
Yes, ma'am.
welcome.
Thank you.
Are you representing a group tonight or just individually?
Hey, group.
A group. So you have 5 minutes and you can begin now.
Can I ask something before my time starts?
Absolutely.
Are we allowed to name names?
You are allowed to name names.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I good to go?
You are good to
All
go.
right. The definition of leadership is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. The definition of accountability is an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. The superintendent is the leader of the school system. As with any business, accountability is a must. What happens when there is a lack of leadership and a lack of accountability? Cabarrus County Schools is what happens. The old superintendent is gone. Good riddance. One of the teachers is gone as well. Good riddance to her too. Now that leaves us with an acting superintendent and one heck of a mess to clean up. We are held accountable in society by laws. We're held accountable in our jobs by policies. And we're held accountable personally by morals. We'll skip the laws since last month it seemed to be a struggle for comprehension and a sore subject in this room. But everyday citizens are held accountable by our jobs via policies that we signed. We agreed to take the contract and we signed on the dotted line. I must have missed where teachers, who we entrust our children with, are exempt from those policies. 3 words sum up the standards of conduct: at all times. I have to be careful since I have a hearing with the board coming up, so I'll leave it at that for now, which brings me to morals. Our daughter was abused by Cabarrus County Teachers United. Not only was she abused, but she was ridiculed, harassed, bullied, and called a derogatory epithet by her own teacher. Any normal person with morals would stand up for a defenseless child. 1,900 of your employees were so morally bankrupt that not one of them did. Instead of apologizing, another one of your employees decided to post to 43,000 strangers online, where 3 of my other kids go to school at. 43,000 other people who some of them have criminal backgrounds. As parents and grandchildren and grandparents, I ask you to stop and think, how would you feel in that position? Would you stand up for your kids? Would you go to war for your kids? I'm glad most of you in this room can probably answer yes to that, because 1,900 of your employees did not. All of you ran on public platforms expressing your concern for our children. You are the last line of defense for kids that have been abused by the system that you represent. When it comes time to protect our children, will you stand up and be a leader and make a difference, or will you be as morally bankrupt as your teachers? Kimberly Biondi stated, while I was speaking last month, that I was a loudmouth and a fool during my speech. Kaylin Collier thinks she's a boss and loves her. Megan Myers thinks we are all appalling. Nathan Smith is glad to be a part of a hate group. Michelle Rengert says there's more of them. And Deidre Cantrell wishes the attorney would man up. If this is the price to pay for fighting for my child, I will. In the words of Deidre Cantrell, I hope the board mans up and holds these employees accountable. I don't know where we go from here. It's too late to turn back. The dirty laundry has been aired and the curtain has been raised. A simple apology to the community would have gone a long way, but I won't hold my breath. How do we explain to our kids and how their teachers that they trust betrayed them in such horrific ways? There's a lot of work to be done, and it starts in this room. Mr. Schultz, the website states that being a father and a husband are your 2 most important roles, and I completely agree. So from one father to another father, would you want a picture of your child shared by one of your employees to 1,900 people and to 43,000 others without your consent? I think it's time for some leadership, accountability, and policy clarification and changes. Louder culture is done in Cabarrus County. It's time for you to set the example that your principals and your teachers will follow. It's time for this board to make a difference. And since I have just a few more seconds left probably, I would personally like to thank this Board of Education, because a lot of people don't realize that you have not been in office as a whole board for more than 90 days. And there has been a lot of good work done, and that does not get acknowledged enough. So I would like to say thank you for standing up so far and doing the right thing.
Thank you. So we will have speaker number 2, Jennifer Krafchick. And Ms. Krafchick, I'm assuming you are speaking on the middle school realignment.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can
Green
begin
Castle.
now.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Again, I'm Jennifer Krafchick. Thank you so much for letting us be here. By this time, over the last few months, we've all been aware of all the issues that surround us for these plans. We understand that there's the 6 criteria, and our area only meets one of the 6. We understand that we're more than doubling the mileage and bus rides for our children. We all know about the safety issues, the feeder pattern issues, the mental health issues. So today I just decided to change it up and tell you about my little world, and how it actually, my little world actually fit. All the other parents are kind of going through the same thing, and the parents right here in front of me. When you go to buy a new home, your long-term life home with your children, the first thing that you look at, or at least what we looked at, is school systems. My family, we actually only moved 7 minutes down the road from Mecklenburg County. My now 6-year-old, who's in kindergarten at Cox Mill, when she started getting closer to the school age, we're like, I guess we have to move. I guess we have to find a good school system. And of course, we did our research and loved Cabarrus County Schools and fell in love, obviously, with I only moved 7 minutes, so we loved the area of Highland Creek. And we loved the Cox Mill Harris to Cox Mill feeder pattern. And we had the option to do a new build, but we wanted an area and a house that was in an established neighborhood, an established school system, My house was actually one of the original houses in our little neighborhood, and it was built in 2003. And I know from a fact that since then, it has been Cox Mill, Harris to Cox Mill, over 18 years. And it's just, it's very stunned, I'm very stunned that we're not even grandfathered in that system since it's been so long. And I never thought that I would be here 4 years later after I bought my house speaking to you about this. It seems that it needs to be, that's the way it has been. That's where I thought it was going to be. Another issue I was thinking about of course, all the other issues are important too, but you're asking our elementary-year-old children to go from one traditional learning style and teaching style to Winkler's, the IB school, is a whole different type of style learning, and then back. It almost seems like we're setting our kids up for failure, and as a parent, I'm like, no, this seems unfair for our kids. And all I ask is let's hope to not set our kids up for failure, and let's not look at them as a number, and to hopefully listen and look at a different option. We have to learn and figure out a common goal, option. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have speaker number 3, Liz Ottschuler.
Thank you.
I'm assuming I pronounced that correctly.
You did.
Good
Third
deal.
time to charm, right?
Good deal, good deal.
I appreciate
Welcome.
you having me tonight. I want to start off by talking about numbers. I'm here for the middle school realignment. Today, 238 middle school children are going to a middle school that doesn't feed into their high school. Today, 238 kids don't know what to do when their 8th grade class goes to visit the high school to see what programs they're going to be able to take, because it's not their high school. If they're on the football team and they get to go to the high school to play a football game, because the middle schools do that with the high school that they line up with in the feeder pattern, they're playing at somebody else's high school. 238 kids today. I want you all to know the blue and yellow plan will add additional kids to that broken feeder pattern. 238 today. If you go blue, that's 578 kids that are going to be in a broken feeder pattern for high school. They're going to be sitting at the middle school while their peers are going to go tour the high school. If you go yellow, guess what? 610 kids with a broken feeder pattern. How can we accept a plan that impacts more children negatively when it comes to the feeder patterns? When my son was in 8th grade, he played baseball at the middle school. They had such an amazing team and such a bond. Those kids went over to the high school together and watched the high school team play. And now as those kids are coming into the high school, he's playing with freshmen, he's a sophomore, playing with freshmen that he played with back in middle school. If they're in a broken feeder pattern, that's not going to happen. These kids start developing relationships in middle school. They start developing teams. They build rapport with each other that moves them into high school. And if we've got broken feeder patterns, they're not going to have that ability to build those relationships. You know, one more thing I wanted to talk about. I'm a parent. I work full-time. My daughter had an orthodontist appointment today. I stopped work at 11:30, went and picked her up from the elementary school, took her over to the orthodontist, came back, brought her back to school. I was in the car about 30 minutes, and the school is like 4 miles from my house. If I have to go to Winkler to pick her up, to take her to the orthodontist, she's missing a half a day of school, because those 9 miles are like 25 minutes in the car. When you start looking at the number of stoplights, the traffic patterns, the roundabouts, the divergent diamonds, there's no way these middle school kids are going to be able to do normal doctor's appointments. And if they've got orthodontics, they go once a month. And orthodontics don't open until 8:30, and they're closed by 5 o'clock, middle school hours. There's no way these kids are going to be able to go pop into the orthodontist before they go to middle school, or pop into the orthodontist after school. It's just too far. So I'm asking, Community Green Plus plan, we address the feeder patterns, we help all Cabarrus County schools, we correct that 238, and the maximum number of kids impacted with broken feeder pattern on the Green Plus plan that we support is less than 50. Please, I implore you, please take a look at the Green Plus plan. Sit down with us, talk to us about it. We want to share with you. Parents are passionate, we care. Please review Green Plus, and thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Okay, speaker number 4, Paige Stock. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Paige Stock, and I'm here to discuss the negative impacts that the current blue and yellow realignment plans will have for my family as well as my neighbors, and tell you why the Green Plus plan you have received by email and that you'll be hearing more about this evening is a better choice for not only my family and neighbors, but for all families in Cabarrus County. My family and I live in Christenberry Hall neighborhood right outside of Highland Creek. My husband Alex is a family physician in this county, and I'm a school counselor turned stay-at-home mom. Our 2 girls attend Cabarrus County schools. Lainey is in 7th grade at Harris Road, and Finley is in 3rd at Cox Mill Elementary. We strive to serve this community not only in a professional capacity, but also as volunteers and active participants in each of our girls' educations. The current rezoning options disregard 5 of the 6 of your rezoning criteria and instead focus on 1, utilization. Sadly for our kids, your out-of-state consultant can't possibly understand the unique needs we have as a community. I sincerely hope, therefore, you'll take a closer look and listen to those of us who are actually invested in this community and want our reputation as a county and its school system to stay positive. So my question for you tonight is, do we let a paid third party with no vested interest in our community decide our children's educational fate? Or do we listen to the creators of the beneficial Green Plus plan, who are highly intelligent, actual members of our community, who understand the needs of Cabarrus County families and the children? The optics of a school system prioritizing the recommendation of an out-of-state paid consulting firm is concerning at best, and the realization of these plans would have long-lasting negative implications. I'm convinced that if one of these current closed plans passes, this county will lose many of these actively involved constituents who volunteer and often have high-performing schools that help benefit their reputation. Many of my families, including my own, will consider charter and private schools if the blue and yellow plan pass, because they fail to take into account our children's academic, social, and emotional needs. So please listen to me and my family. Please listen to my fellow speakers, and please listen to the voice of the 1,800 constituents that have signed a petition on change.org that do not want either of these plans. The 5 disregarded criteria all deserve equal time, in my opinion, but I'm going to focus really quickly on one that has the biggest impact on my family: proximity. The 2 current plans move us to a school that's double our current distance, 2 times over your own rezoning criteria. Equates to long bus rides, tripling the time, through many busy intersections, which adds to my safety concerns as a parent. And I've worked in a middle school for some time, and I know that the middle school bus is no place for my 11-year-old daughter to be on a bus for an hour each way to school. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Stock. Speaker number 5, Hema Konini. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, board members. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Hema Konini, and I'm from the Edenton subdivision on Cox Mill Road. So, we moved from a different state last summer and did months of research before deciding the core thing you would, look at before, deciding on where you want to buy a house is schools, right? School district. You want your kids, all your kids to go to good schools. So we made a decision to move to Edenton, and my kids started school. So I have 2 girls who go to Harris Road Middle today, and they love it. They just love it. And, in the midst of all this comes the rezoning. And, a lot of research and time and effort has been put for us to decide on where we want our kids to go to school. We paid a premium to live in the house we are living right now because of the school district. And now we are talking about rezoning. And, the plans that are on the table today, yellow and blue plans, they just follow 1 criteria of the 6 criteria for a school realignment for Cabarrus County schools. A lot of time and effort has been put by a lot of parents in doing research, and coming up with a holistic plan, a well-balanced plan, and that's the Green Plus plan. And I support Green Plus plan. Please look at the plan and come back with your questions to talk about what is that you don't like in a Green Plus plan that you like in yellow or blue plan. Green Plus plan follows all the 6 criteria of Cabarrus County school realignment criteria. And today we live 500 feet away from Cox Mill High School, less than 1,000 feet away from Cox Mill Elementary, and 3.5 miles from Harris Road Middle. And you want us to move 8 miles away and going through freeways, crossing I-85 is under construction. And so it's like solid 1 hour to go to school and 1 hour to come back from school. And God knows how many days they'll miss their first period of school. So I would really, really want the board members to look at the Green Plus plan and give us the opportunity to have a virtual one-on-one or face-to-face where we can ask. We'll have a Q&A dialogue and go from there. So yeah, that's all. I mean, nothing new. You must have heard the same thing from other parents, other speakers. But yeah, please look at the Green Plus plan. A lot of sweat has been put into it, and it deserves its attention. Bring it back to the table and let's discuss on it.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Speaker number 6, Pamela Escobar. Good evening.
Good evening. Do I have to tell you where I live?
No, it's
Okay,
not
thanks.
necessary.
All right, I live in Highland Creek. Schools are more than buildings. Schools are where children learn, teachers engage, parents support, and communities are formed. Those bonds extend way past the campus. PTOs have fundraisers at local restaurants and businesses to support our schools. Kids and parents see each other at bus stops and throughout the community. Neighborhoods, communities, and schools are all linked. When that could change, people are understandably concerned. We are a group of passionate parents who live near Cox Mill Elementary School. In January, you saw some of us speak at that first school board meeting for us. Our group is now larger than parents, over 1,700 people strong. It includes homeowners and taxpayers who are concerned about how your decision will affect their communities and their home values. Many of us bought our homes because of the schools. But passion can only get you so far. We have worked. As a group of professionals, we have balanced our full-time careers and this realignment. We have canvassed our neighborhoods, wrote talking points, communicated regularly via social media, held meetings, spoke to leaders throughout the community, sent emails, researched, and then created the Community Green Plus plan. All in an effort to demonstrate that the people affected by these decisions related to realignment should have a voice. The consultant has created a process that is not transparent and tried to stifle our voice. There were public information sessions that did not allow for a true dialogue, questions asked that were not answered live, surveys and feedback forms that allow us to write but never receive a response. Matthew Cropper is being paid with taxpayer funds. Please listen to the taxpayers. We have been listening. We have compiled a new Community Green Plus plan based on the information we have had to dig through on the realignment website, emails that we keep on sending to staff who have written back to us, and from the comments shared by Cropper during that last public information session. If he had read our original plan, many of the answers he needed were in that original document. We have listened and learned. Please read all the emails we've been sending you. Please review the slides, which walks you through our plan and provides a positive solution for all impacted in this school district. And when I say all impacted students, we really have considered that in our plan. My 13-year-old filled out the survey response to the blue and yellow plans. She explained that if her sister goes to another middle school 9 miles away, it will affect our whole family and our ability to participate in activities outside of school. She also explained how a friend of hers, when she was in 3rd grade, she was affected by the rezoning to Odell Elementary. They lost touch and they didn't maintain their friendship. And now they're back together at Harris Road, but they're not friends. I mean, that's what happens. And that's what's going to happen here. She understands that pulling kids away from each other for middle school and then bringing them back together for high school will affect those long-term relationships. Please listen. Listen to the community. Listen to the taxpayers. Listen to us. We would be happy to give you a presentation and answer your questions about the Green Plus plan. We welcome a meeting where we can have an open dialogue, listen to our voice and the community's voice. And I want to say thank you for saying that you're going to have a public hearing. We are very excited about that. I don't know when.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Can you tell us when that is? What date?
It is April the 13th, Tuesday, April 3rd at 6 o'clock. And I'll say it again, and of course you can watch it on YouTube.
April 13th at 6 o'clock, and we're also hoping that maybe you would let people who can't, or who aren't comfortable coming in public to speak, if we could have some
We are trying
technology.
to address that, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
We absolutely are. Thank you for being with us. Speaker number 7 is Catherine Parrish. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to address the board. As the recommendation from the IPT and the final decision on student realignment becomes closer, I wanted to make sure that you are aware that there is no publicly available document that talks about the future growth and its impact on any of the schools in our district. As a heavily growth-laden area, the future capacity of our schools and how the decisions that you make now are very heavily going to rely on how our students are impacted. As an example, Harris Road Middle School, the Green Plus plan that we have provided has been pushed back on because its initial capacity does not meet future needs. The 97% is not enough. However, if we look at short-term growth in active developments, under the blue plan, future utilization will be right back at 99% again, not too far away from the 102% that the Green Plus plan will provide. So all those gains that are shown on paper for the blue plan immediately dissolve once future development is considered. Similarly, Northwest Cabarrus Middle School is also in a heavily growth area, and future capacity at that school without any interaction or intervention is going to be at 112%. Northwest Cabarrus is not part of the blue or yellow plan, and so there is no relief in sight for that school. The green plan, though, does provide an additional immediate 100-seat capacity for Northwest Cabarrus. And so rather than after future growth, that school being at 112%, that school will only be at 100% capacity. Not great, but it's still better than 112. That same green plan that offers equitable growth for Harris Road Middle School, improved capacity for Northwest Cabarrus, is the same plan that is going to improve the feeder pattern from middle school to high school for over 900 middle school students. It's the same plan that also increases and improves on transportation efficiencies by decreasing distance requirements and the need for any currently impacted middle school student to transfer across I-85 to get to school. When long-term capacity at Harris Road is looked at, every single plan, blue, yellow, and green, all end up at a ballpark of 120% capacity. So even though we all start at different places, the final result is exactly the same. And yet the only two plans currently on the table are ones that chooses to displace over 350 students from their current school, and neither has none of the impacts of that positivity of increased capacity at Northwest Cabarrus, of increased feeder pattern efficiency, or the transportation efficiency that the green plan provides. And for that reason, we continue to implore you to please consider the green plan and adopt it for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Speaker number 8 is Shannon Young. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk about school realignment and to show my support for our Community Green Plus plan that we've developed. As far as we can tell, it best meets the criteria that the board laid out. It's best for all students, not just some students. There's something for each group in there that is of benefit. It's also the safest. Right now, Highland Creek, if I were to drive to Winkler, I go up to Harris Middle School, where I'm half a mile, and then I hang a right and drive 8.4 miles and across 85 and a couple of roundabouts, several traffic lights, and it takes quite a while in no traffic. So I don't know how it would work transportation-wise and for safety of our kids. So I hope that you will look at it and score it. Ask the consultant to score it. Use the same metrics that they use for blue and yellow, and I think you'll see it would score better than the two options that are on the table. But at the end of the day, all of them are just a Band-Aid because the root problem is we have way too much overdevelopment and growth and explosive population, and we've got to get to the root cause of that. I mean, I've talked to the City and Planning Zoning Committee, talked to the county. There seems to be a severe disconnect in planning adequately and more proactively and fast enough. I would ask that the consultant that we're paying for come up with some other solutions. One, vote for the Community Green Plus plan. Two, ask them, what are other school systems doing? What are the best practices? Like, look at Wake County. They've got 20 schools that use capping, enrollment capping, and that seems to be working well. They have 5 year-round schools. I have 2 teachers that work there. They love it. They get to go on vacation more frequently, and it costs less. And they don't have to, make plans for kids all through the summer. Look at land. I had a realtor look up. There's 3 40-plus acre properties that are right in our Highland Creek, Christenberry area that are for sale right now, and they cost less than what was paid for with the new high school land. So I just ask for you, one, we do need a quick fix. I understand that, and the Community Green Plus plan, I think, does that the best. And if that's not it, at least let us come to the table and let's talk about it and work on something together. That we haven't had that opportunity. And then two, I'd ask that you look long-term, that we try and figure out how to best address this core issue. Or we're just going to be every 2-3 years bringing in another consultant and having to move kids from A to B, A to B, A to B. And it's not fair to the kids. I don't want my son to go to school with some people and then move away to another school and then come back to high school. So anyway, thank you for listening and support the Community Green Plus plan.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Speaker number 9 is Stephen Nelson. I'm sorry, Mindy? Okay, so we will move to speaker number 10. Mindy, would you like to help me with that one? I will just allow the speaker to pronounce the name. How's that? Thank you for being with us tonight. Could you please pronounce your name for us?
It is Siva Sankari.
Thank you.
You can have it, Siva.
Perfect.
Okay.
You may begin.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. Thank you for this opportunity to address the middle school issue. I'm here to oppose the rezoning proposal that is on the table, which is the blue and the yellow plan as has been put out by Cropper. I'm from India. I studied in a language school, my mother tongue, until grade 10. It was only in my grade 11 that I went into an English school. So I learned English from grade 11 onwards, and little did I know that I would be here one day talking about an issue in English. I struggled through my grade 11, all through the grade. I was a good student, but 11th was a complete struggle for me. But I was able to make the transition. In grade 12, I secured 86% and was state third. I don't say this as my achievement, but when I look back, that was only possible because of the school that I was in and the teachers who supported me throughout my struggle. They gave me the confidence. They gave me I was made to believe that I can, excel in anything that I wish to. And that's the same that I want for my children too. And that's what we signed up when we signed up to live in a particular community. We looked at the feeder pattern, we looked at the schools, and we decided based on that. Suddenly, we find ourselves being taken away from that choice, and that hurts me the most because in India we say Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. Mata is mother, Pita is father, and next comes the teacher, and God comes next to our teachers. He comes later. We put so much value on education and what we get out of the schools and the teachers that's almost like, another God for us. Now, Harris Road Middle has been a dream school, dream middle school for us. And especially the transition from middle to high school, as I have gone through, has been with adolescence and we're trying to figure out who we are in that age, what we want to do with our lives and what we want to do with our careers. And so I realized from my own life path that the transition needs to be smoother. With this realignment that is going to happen, my son and all of his friends are going to lose his friends from middle school, go to high, make new friends, over again with all the confusion that happens with their age and the choices that they need to make. So I'm here to request you to consider the Green Plus plan that some of us have worked on, which
I'm going to have to
includes-
cut you off there. Your time's up, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
being
very
with
much.
us tonight.
Thank you.
Speaker number 11 is Hasil Almahim. You can tell me if I got that even close.
Josim Al-Melhem?
Very good.
Pretty close.
Good evening.
Good evening. So again, my name is Josim Al-Melhem, and I'm here representing my family, the Edenton neighborhood, and the broader Highland Creek, Cox Mill Road community. I'm here representing all of the parents and kids affected by this rezoning. I'm here representing the constituents who elected this board to serve our community, and the constituents who will be voting based on the performance on this board in the next election cycle. I'm here representing the families and the kids who currently have a less than 15-minute average commute time that will potentially be sitting on a bus for 40+ minutes if either of these plans go forward. I'm here to state that the proposed yellow and blue rezoning plan options are not acceptable. They're going to have a significant negative impact on our families, our community, and our children. I'm not here to blindly complain or dismiss the complexities of this problem. I'm here to offer an alternative. I'm here to advocate for the Green Plus plan, a plan created by the community, not a consulting company. That truly keeps the community's best interests in mind, while also better adhering to the initial criteria set forth by this board. That criteria included utilization, taking future growth into consideration, optimizing feeder patterns, taking proximity into account, and transportation efficiency. I acknowledge this is a difficult problem and there's a lot of complexity involved. However, the yellow and blue plan options are unacceptable. The Green Plus plan is not only a viable alternative, but a more comprehensive, long-term solution for all parties involved that better takes into account each of the above criteria. For utilization, the Green Plus plan provides equitable utilization across all schools and addresses long-term population growth. So we're not back here in this room again in a year or two. For feeder patterns, the Green Plus plan offers an improvement over our current feeder pattern, as well as both of the blue and yellow proposals. For proximity, the Green Plus plan keeps proximity identical for Harris Road Middle School and Winkler. Even though it does have an impact on the new Cabarrus Middle School, it doesn't double or triple any student's commute time or distance. For transportation efficiency, the Green Plus plan is a better plan for everyone involved. No student crosses the I-85 boundary. Buses remain on less populated back roads. All students are closer proximity-wise. This means less fuel. Better alignment between elementary and middle school routes, and the potential to defer our transportation needs and costs. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for being with us this evening. Speaker number 12 will be Margaret Manrique Lopez.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You may begin.
Can I begin?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Margaret Lopez. I'm a resident of Edenton neighborhood and part of the broader Cox Mill and Highland Creek community. I'm also a parent, and very concerned about the direction of the current rezoning efforts and its negative effects on our community. I'm here to express my support for the Community Green Plus plan. I stand together with our neighbors and request that this well-rounded proposal, benefiting multiple areas within the district, be considered and adopted. We oppose the blue and yellow plans as they do not address future growth in the district, disrupt multiple middle school to high school feeder patterns, and disregard other established realignment criteria. We ask that we adopt the Green Plus plan and stop the rezoning, because overall this plan is more effective at achieving the realignment criteria set forth. It would also provide better feeder pattern alignment for all impacted areas, and it's also a better long-term solution. The Green Plus plan also best addresses and would improve school utilization, future growth, transportation efficiency, proximity, and provide a natural boundary for all students, families, and communities involved. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Speaker number 13, Sandeep Roy. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. So my name is Sandeep Roy, and I am a current resident at Christianberry neighborhood and been living there since 2009. So I moved into this neighborhood before even my kids were born, with the dream and the vision that I'm gonna grow my kids here, build a long-term relationship, foster, and basically live for the rest of the life. But and also we have enjoyed and cherished all the development that's going on in the area. But this whole rezoning thing is kind of disturbing, as well as is disrupting the whole, the kind of the mindset and the emotions, etc. And above all, it is also a major concern from a safety and soundness standpoint for the kids, and especially is basically uprooting them from their current neighborhood, their current ecosystem, and sending them to a distant school, which we are not even familiar with. The second thing is that the current plan, it takes into consideration only the financial benefits for the developers, the real estate agents, etc., not taking into account any of the benefits for our children. So I really don't know and how this plan is justified for any of the community, the kids, etc. So that's why we are here, and we are requesting to kindly consider the Green Plus plan that has been put forward with a lot of thoughts, and we really appreciate if you all can take a kind attention at that, and then also approve and support that plan, because there's a lot of countless hours of work and planning has gone into that, not only from the residents of the community, but the little children who are distributing the flyers. They're going and trying, and they're concerned, and every day they are talking about this with their parents, like, do I have to shift my school? Do I have to go to a new territory that I don't know? So I think that's kind of what we are here, and would like your support and approval for the Green Plus plan. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Okay, speaker number 14. And I will ask that you pronounce your name for us, please. Can you provide your name to the board?
Good evening, Board of Education members and all parents. My name is Saujanya, and I'm here to represent and talk about the rezoning of middle school. And especially my concerns and also my community concerns and all the parents. If pandemic is the one that caused distress for everyone around the world, many of the Cabarrus County parents have additional one, that's HRMS rezoning. It might sound as just a middle school rezoning, but impact on the kids is the worrying part. Parents' distress is visible in all our activities, running pole to pillar in preparing a better working Green Plus plan. standing along with kids in cold weathers to make ourselves being heard. My personal concerns, travel time matters. Kids have to travel 3 times the distance while they move from Harris Road to Winkler Middle School. And the realignment team mentioned they studied the distance. And most of the parents, including myself, drove multiple times to HRMS and Winkler to debunk this theory of same distance. And why is this such a big problem? Middle school plays a key role in every kid's life. Studies, homework, projects, extracurricular activities, friends, and time with family. With this travel time, everything will be jeopardized. One kid's timings impact the others too at home. If we have multiple kids, every mother knows this. Parent participation. With more than an hour trip to school, parents will have no choice to participate in any volunteering work or school programs or activities, which is very disappointing. And relationships. Making friends and having them with you for long is a big deal. As I am being a parent of a child who moved school every year, I know this better. With feeder pattern being disrupted, kids have to make new friends in middle school and back in high school. Is this a big deal? Yes. There is no time goes by when my daughter talks about her old friends, whom she never gets to meet again. Kids have sports groups, study groups. It's important they continue them that way. This rezoning makes me feel these kids are unlucky to move away from their friends, travel far, and move to a different school with IB study pattern. Kids' impact has to be the highest consideration, which is ignored in both blue and yellow plans. So I'm requesting the Board of Education members to look at the Green Plus plan and have a discussion with parents about that. Last but not least, every parent wants to speak on BOE meetings, which is not feasible due to the situations around. They are sending emails to the Board of Education members to express their concern. It would be really great if we have a virtual time so every parent can express themselves. Yeah, that's it from us. Thanks for giving me time. Thanks for listening. Hope our concerns will be addressed.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Speaker number 15, Samir Arora. Good evening. Yes.
Hi, good evening. Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time today. My name is Samir Arora. I thank you for your representation and for listening to us so far. I'm from Christianberry subdivision within Coxmill area and representing 350 students from the area and about 1,800 petitioners that are in support of the Green Plus community plan. Overutilization of Harris Road Middle School needs to be addressed. However, I'm here to oppose the current plans under consideration that are blue and yellow plans because all they address is the current utilization. They don't address future growth, leaving Harris Road Middle at more than 20% future utilization, which is going to leave us in a far worse situation than we are at right now. They disrupt the feeder pattern for 350 students from Coxmill area going from elementary to middle to high school. They double the distance to 8 miles, sending them over I-85, violating the proximity and natural boundary criteria. First of all, it offers zero benefit to our children from Coxmill area, and I really mean it. There isn't a single benefit for kids from the Coxmill area, 350 kids. Which is why our group, which has always focused on solution, we have been a solution-focused group. We don't believe in just complaining. We have thought. We've always come up with some good plans and ideas. We went back to the drawing board and updated our original plan to what we call Green Plus plan. That was emailed to all of you on February 23rd. It offers a well-rounded solution that benefits students from all areas and is aligned with the rezoning criteria. Green Plus plan addresses future growth by reducing HRMS future utilization to 110%. It asks 172 students from 2 future developments that were carefully chosen to make sense from transportation efficiency. Doesn't it make sense to send 172 kids from these developments in a few years from now versus 350 students from Coxmill area right now? Now, our plan not just considers Coxmill area students, but also takes into account students from north of 73 and south of 85 by maintaining the middle school to high school feeder pattern for all, maintaining natural boundaries for all, so nobody has to cross 85. Now, when we talk about feeder pattern, middle school to high school feeder pattern is most critical. These are formative years. These are the years when kids remember their friendships from, their social connections from, and they make lifelong friendships, which are far more important than any other time of the year, and very important for their social and mental well-being. Why wouldn't you consider a solution that addresses the problem at hand and adheres to realignment criteria, and most of all, benefits children from all areas? Your decision will positively or negatively impact the safety, social, mental well-being, and physical well-being of 350 students from Cox Mill area. So on behalf of them, I urge you to consider the Green Plus plan. And we remain open for a dialogue if you have any concerns or questions. Thank you again.
Thank you for being with us tonight. Speaker number 16 is Joanna Loftus. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening. I'm sure that you hear constantly about what's going wrong in our community, but I would like to share with you some things that have gone right this year. I have 3 daughters at Jay and Freeze, and I would be lying if I told you this has been a perfect year. We have struggled with getting all assignments in, staying caught up, and staying awake in class. But the teachers and counselors at Jay and Freeze have been nothing short than amazing. From the beginning of the year, I have had science and social studies experiments in my living room for Mr. Aycock and Mr. Clark. They have grown plants, made structures, made posters. My oldest daughter has an amazing reasoning and social studies teacher, Mr. Campbell, who has pushed and inspired her to speak out. She has shared essays with me she has written and been so excited about what they are learning. Miss Merrill and Mr. Stark have done a great job working with her when she struggles with assignments and really working in when she gets behind. Miss Boucher is 6th grade reading, and she is having my kids reading books, and they constantly are talking how patient and kind she is with all our students. Mr. P is somehow teaching my 6th graders to play an instrument remotely, and Miss Gardner has my child singing and doing music therapy for chorus. Miss Horning is a math teacher, and she is understanding if they don't understand, and one of my daughter's favorite teachers. In PE, Mr. Well and Miss Crosby have been working out remotely and learning health and all kinds of things that they are learning, and somehow at Jay and Freeze they're doing clubs. We have cooking club in my kitchen every other week. I mention these teachers by name as they are all doing an amazing job with a difficult year. They are inspiring students, teaching hybrid, and understanding bending over backward. I would like to share something my daughter wanted me to say on her behalf. My daughter is in 8th grade. She said this is one of the hardest years that she's ever had. First, because 8th grade math is hard remotely, but Mr. Stark has made sure that when she needs help, he's always there to help. It is a very socially and politically charged environment this year with the election, protest, and COVID. It has been very challenging to watch and be so young to not be able to do anything about it. But in my social studies class, Mr. Campbell gives us a chance to speak and voice our opinions in a safe place. He has taught me to view things differently from different perspectives so that I don't always see things from one side of the political aisles, but I look at both sides. All my teachers have been very kind and patient because we are all struggling together. It's been very hard being 14 and being so young, feeling like no one listens to you because of your age. So I really appreciate all of my teachers allowing me to have a safe place to talk about issues without being judged, even while teaching remotely. It has encouraged me to go into a career to help children have a safe place to communicate without being judged. Having a voice with a lot to say and not having a voice to say it is a challenging place to be. Teachers are tired of feeling unappreciated and getting burned out. When you don't hear anything about what you're doing right and constantly hear what you're doing wrong, it's discouraging. I would like to give a shout out to all Jay and Freeze teachers because they're doing an amazing job.
Thank you for that. Thank you for being with us tonight. Speaker number 17, Tara Boland.
Good job.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My son Alex is a first grader at Cox Mill in the Mandarin Immersion Program, which no one is talking about. I'm here to tell you that he is not going to realize a single benefit with all of the proposed realignments. When you enroll in kindergarten at Cox Mill, every administrator will ask you if you've heard about the program. We were sold. Parents and students are told that this incredible opportunity will carry with your student through middle school into high school. They will be fully fluent in one of the hardest to learn languages. They will still get to ride the bus and play with all of their neighborhood friends. We're asking you to consider our proposal. It allows our Mandarin immersion program to continue with our students. It addresses the overpopulation, and it honestly is identical to the Cox Mill High School, where he will go to high school. However, here's what's being proposed. First, the Mandarin program is going to move to Roberta Road. Why? Because Winkler already has an IB curriculum. For parents, we're going to have to choose. Do you provide transportation for your child, which you logistically can't as a working parent? Or do you drop the Mandarin program they've worked so hard for, force them into an IB curriculum they know nothing about, that they will lose again when they go to high school? This doesn't make sense. Secondly, we are asking you to move students to Northwest Cabarrus, and Copper says it's going to increase their distance. What they're not telling you, though, is that distance does not cross I-85. It's on a road that only has less than 17,000 cars per day. However, our children will cross I-85, merging diamonds, roundabouts, and over 45,000 cars per day on those roads. That is over 3 times the impact for our students. Cropper's metric of looking at the distance strictly from A to B is not cutting it. You're not looking beyond the numbers. Last, our Cropper's proposed plans will join students from Cox Mill, Carl Fur, and Weddington elementary schools just for middle school. Not a single one of those schools are aligned for high school, again, because Cox Mill's alignment is actually south of 73 and north of 85. It's exactly what we're asking you to do for middle school. At the end of the day, I can look my son Alex in the eye and tell him that we worked really hard and thought about a proposal that took into consideration his program he's working his rear end off during COVID and doing a good job of. But Cropper has forgotten about and will move to a different school. I ask you that you demand that these consultants consider all programs and all students and do what's right for CCS students. I know I'm biased and I'm fighting for my kid, but so should you. You are here to fight for our students and fight for all of our programs and not forget about this one too. Will Cropper's plans benefit our students in any way? I honestly say for my son, it won't, and that is disheartening. They are not doing what's best for our kids, especially anyone in the Mandarin immersion program at Cox Mill. Please ask them to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 18 is Elizabeth Kovic.
Hi, how you doing?
Good evening.
I am a mother to 3 amazing children. Life has not been easy for any of them. They have attended schools in various states and counties. Each has faced adversities due to our frequent relocations as well as personal adversities. My oldest faced dyslexia and social anxiety. My middle faced being one of the few students of color in his schools, as well as extreme health issues from birth. My youngest, still currently in high school, has faced the death of her father in a horrific manner, coupled with severe mental illnesses. Diversity comes in many shapes. Adversities come in many forms. Success, however, comes from hard work, determination, absolute support, and accountability. Each one of my children were advanced students in high school, graduating with honors and distinctions at the top of their classes. Each one is currently an overachieving college student, my youngest being dual enrolled. My older 2 are successful in life as well. We have faced a great many battles with staff and teachers, poor conduct, but never have I seen the likes of such poor, inappropriate, and unprofessional conduct as I see in Cabarrus County school employees. When my children faced policy breaks in their schools, the issues were addressed with the appropriate authorities, and in return, disciplinary action was taken. They were held accountable as they should have been. The entitled behavior of these teachers, the clear violations of school policy in which they are facing zero accountability for, it's maddening. Teachers are to be held to a professional standard at all times according to policy. At all times does not mean some of the time or just when on school property. It means what it says. So when will they be held accountable? And if those in charge refuse to do their jobs, holding violators accountable, then maybe it's time for new people to be placed in positions of authority as oversight who will uphold a professional, unbiased standard. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 19 is Haoli Kovic. Good evening.
Good evening.
You may begin.
Suicide has become the second leading cause of death in teenagers in the United States. There's been a 31% increase of mental health-related hospital visits in children ages 12 to 17 during 2020. In the week of 2019, 1,000 hospital visits out of 100,000 per week were due to emotional distress. But in week 19 of 2020, they were at 1,500 per 100,000 weekly in the United States. Schools locked down at approximately week 14. I'm sure you can see where this is going. I am a 16-year-old high school student who will hopefully be graduating this year. As advanced as I may seem, I am not what meets the eye. I struggle with various serious mental illnesses such as bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. I, as a passionate student, can confidently say that schools closing in-person learning has contributed to a quick decline of my mental health. Due to isolation, my anxiety and depression skyrocketed. This began within the first month or so of schools shutting down. By July, I was severely depressed to the point I attempted suicide. I am a survivor. I am a conqueror. And I am not the only one. 18.8% of students in high school have suicidal ideations. That adds up to around 3,176 students. 8.9% attempt suicide, but those are the only ones reported. Think of how many are unreported. There are 9.2 suicides every 100,000 youth in North Carolina alone. Clark County even had 18 youth suicides in 9 months. What is all of this for? A virus? Now, the legitimacy of the virus is not what I'm here to question, but an anonymous North Carolina school superintendent stated that the suicide rates in their county were higher than the COVID rates. In reality, we're trading lives. Is my life really less important than your fear? 70 to 80% of students that receive mental health care through schools have been restricted. Now, this is not to say that every single person benefits from going back to school, but this is to say that those who do should be able to go back full time. If someone in their family feels if the student should not attend school, then there should be a remote option for those students. As someone who has a hard time masking for more than a few minutes, I cannot attend school the way I am expected. All people learn differently, and forcing everyone to learn the same way is oppressive. You are setting us up for failure. Too many students are struggling for you to sweep us under the rug. I implore you, listen to your students, listen to the facts, and open our schools for our sake. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 20, Zoe Thompson. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Zoe Thompson, and my speech is about bullying. So, yeah. As a society, it has become more and more acceptable for people to be bystanders to bullying situations. It has become incorrect for one to stand up for another. Sadly, that is something our teachers in our school have adopted. Many school staff no longer knows how to handle a bullying situation. Children being ridiculed has been swept under the rug. Bullying has has enormous effects on our youth. As someone who has experienced it, I can attest to this. Throughout my schooling, I was constantly bullied for presenting as myself. I was constantly called slurs for being LGBTQ+, and have even been told that my alternative appearance was too much. Too gay, ugly, and weird became constant insults. Students would prank me by being nice, but laugh behind my back. Nowadays, this has affected my ability to express myself. I feel bad if I look too much like a specific group I belong to. This has largely contributed to many of the things I currently struggle with. Myself and many others have faced this. This isn't an issue that just stops after high school. Bullying can cause long-term effects. Psychologists have stated that bullying can cause long-term depression, anxiety disorders, self-destructive behavior, and can cause victims to have a harder time forming healthy relationships. Bullies are more at risk for antisocial behavior and less likely to stay educated or employed. Despite this, I felt as if I couldn't go to a teacher without being passed on to another adult. Every time I tried, I would be sent to a guidance counselor who wouldn't do anything. The teachers didn't seem to care about how their students were being treated. They didn't want to do their jobs. They didn't want to teach students how to be better people. The teachers and the school system would rather focus on a flawed curriculum than making sure the students have the resources to succeed, not just physically, but mentally. Teachers should be able to confront a bully for a student, contact a bully's parents, and handle the situation. Teachers need to stand up for their students. It is a teacher's job to help us succeed. Why is it that I am put at a disadvantage because no one will stand by me? Thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight. We will have our last speaker, number 22, Andrea Moore. That's it? No? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, board members. Before we move into closed session, I want to make sure that we repeat the April 13th public hearing date at 6 o'clock for the realignment of the new middle school. And to say goodnight to our viewing audience, and thank you for being with us. We will see you in April, and I will accept a motion that the board convene in closed session to consult with an attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant to General Statute 143-318-11A3, and to consider confidential personnel matters pursuant to General Statute 143-318-11A6. So moved. I have a motion. May I have a second? I have a motion by Ms. Blackwell and a second by Mr. Furr. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. And with that, we will say goodnight to the viewing audience.